Okay, guys, part two here. So I want to get a little bit more in the discussion of subconscious thought because our brain is constantly working on things as well as your body is taking stock and inventory um, of yourself all the time. And before we had doctors, this is a lot of how we operated is you didn't have a doctor to tell you what was going on. You really had to be good about listening to your own body and what it was telling you. So I'm going to talk more about that when we get into a little bit of the self awareness with self medicating and different things that we do that can actually be hurting us or bad habits. And first, I want to kind of mention slightly the subconscious, but I'll get more into it there. But just to give you an idea of what's going on and why I want to take us in this direction. So I think all of us remember this when we were younger. Either it was your parents or a song that you hated. Is there anything like I don't know why, but that stupid at the car wash song like drives me insane. I hate that song. I don't like it at all. And my girlfriends loved it and would sing it all the time. And then one day, I caught myself singing it when I was younger, and I'm like, and then it like is stuck in your head and you're like, why am I singing this song? I hate this song. Or like negative things in our brain, why they rack our brain and we don't know how to get rid of them or why they're there or what's going on. And it's because it's your subconscious, it's playing on this record. So what did you have to do? And like, it was kind of funny if you think about it. All of a sudden you're like, I gotta change this and I gotta start singing another song. All of a sudden no other song. You're trying to like, where, like, I don't even know. And like, I remember just having to think of something off the top of my head, like even like the national anthem. I'm like, oh, say can you see, and I'm like, I don't know why that's all I can think of right now, but you had to like do something or like ABCs or whatever you needed to do just to get that song from playing in your brain over and over and over again. So you just had to work on replacing it. And, sometimes I had to sing it all over and over and over for minutes to get rid of that song. Or then eventually, like, you just about to start singing it again, and you're like, oh, no, 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 don't go there. So that's what your subconscious is doing. So basically, this meditation is I want you to actually be working on your subconscious and making it do what you want it to do rather than it just spinning around all the time. So what happens a lot of times, like with things, the anxiety, or this is very common among women, especially moms. Think about it. You had a baby and this infant is totally reliant upon you. And I think moms have this brain, like you hear a child cry or scream, and all the moms are like, boom, focused on the child, like it's a reaction. Or a couple of you have ever thought like you've heard your kid or something like in the middle of the night and you're like wide awake. You're like, I swear I just heard my kid. Like I have to go check on them. Or even sleeping in bed. I know moms, they're like, I could not sleep with my baby in bed because I was worried the whole night I was going to squash them. And you didn't even really sleep, or you wouldn't, but you dream that you would. So these things are very powerful, but what you're doing with your body is you're never allowing it to shut off. It's like leaving your computer on 24/7, and it's just taking on too much. It's like, when they get overheated or like a cell phone, it's like, and now we're going to have to shut down. So your body kind of goes through that, and it's not processing as quickly if it's constantly open or like all these browsers are open. You have to try and minimize some of these things so that your body can focus, so it's not like too much overloaded. I think that's a really good depiction of what I'm talking about. That and depression is usually because there's these negative thoughts are circulating around over and over and over. And a lot of that, guys, that's not to blame. That's a lot of the stuff that we've gone through. We've gone through some very painful things, maybe in your childhood, things that people called you, or things you even said about yourself. I mean, for one, we can be very mean and judgmental to ourselves. I used to tell myself, like, you're so stupid, you're so dumb, nobody likes you, everybody hates you. And those things sink into your brain, and those are playing in your subconscious. So I even had to, for a while, been like, everybody loves you, everybody loves you, everybody loves you, you love you. Just these things to try and replace some of that. So it's not that there's anything wrong with you or you're a negative person, but if you are depressed or oftentimes find yourself in depression, it's usually because of those things that your brain gets stuck on something, and it takes you a day or two to get out of it. So there is this idea of meditation and fully understanding your body, as well as dealing with pain and other things like that. So that's why I like using some of these things to make life work for you a little bit better. So, how do we go about doing this? That's great and all. I gave you some good information, but how do we change this? Well, first of all, with meditation, I want you to do two different kinds. There's going to be one that's uncontrolled. I want you to let every thought, every emotion, every pain, and I want you to experience it, and I want you to go into it. So instead of ignoring it or emotionally just, I want you to start figuring that out. Like, if something comes to you, why? Why are you feeling that? What's going on there? Maybe it's like, I'm really mad at my brother today for some reason. Just weird. And you're like, why am I mad at him? I didn't even see him today. I was like, oh, I talked to him on the phone. Okay. He said this to me. I'm like, why did that bug me? What was that about? I felt like really offended by that. And just letting yourself explore it and go into it and diving into it emotionally. And a lot of times, even journaling it down, writing it down, is then after a month or something, after you've written down, because your subconscious is keeping track of stuff. Then when you go back and look at it, you're like, holy cow, how did I not see this? So I've got journals, like I've got probably 15 journals from the past 10 years or so where I've just written stuff down. And it was crazy, the stuff that bugged me in my life that I can look back on like 3 years ago, and the stuff that was like crowded my brain. Some of it was absolutely stupid. Some of it made a lot of sense, and some of it was good. And so there's three things. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but I am. Three things that I want you to really think about is I want you to think about things that are really bugging you, really not okay, things that are really bad in your life, and you don't like that, because we need to face them. Second, I want you to face what's really good in your life. What's going well? What are you good at? Where is this driving force? Something that you're just focused on and just feels really good. And then third, I want you to think about things that you're just really grateful for. Just whatever you're grateful for, and noticing those. I usually tack on sometimes a fourth, and that's including others, like observing relationships or friendships, other people in our lives a little bit more sometimes, like, either a spouse, your kids, friends, other people, if it's more ministry or not. So none of this is spiritual. It definitely can be. And if you want to make this a prayer time, that's really good too. It can be between you and God, and being like, hey, what do I really want here? And this is just where I'm really strongly connected. I'm just really, really naturally very good at this. I am very connected to everyone and everything around me. I just have always been that way. It's a gift. I can see people very well and have a lot of empathy for them, and I can really look at them and see their life and feel their emotions and pain. And it's a lot of practice for the years, but it's also just a natural gift of mine. I'm just naturally gifted that way. So I am happy to bestow a little bit of this gift to you, whether you learn a lot or a little, that's up to you. The second thing we're going to work on is mental clearing. And that is the harder one to do for all of us, is that we need to learn and train our brains to go into shutdown. I want you to get that, like, sleep like a baby, deepest sleep you ever had sleep. And to get into that kind of deep, deep sleep, you really just have to do deep breathing techniques, like just focusing on pushing everything out. When something does come to your brain, you're like, no, good or bad, you're like, I'm not going to focus on that. I am closing off and I'm going to bed. The other thing that really helps is because you don't want things playing in your brain too loudly. Sometimes reading's okay. It stimulates your brain in a different way. It just depends on for you. But usually 30 minutes before bed, and that doesn't matter to me if it's 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever, is you're just going to clear out your mind and you're going to clear out your room. You really want like a nice dark space. I've always kept it that there is not TV or anything allowed in my room, anything that's distracting that's going to keep me up. Now, that's not to say like on the weekend or something, if I want to watch a movie or something, I might take it into bed. That's a little bit different. And because it's such like a common ritual now that I just don't really ever do that. But for me, I really don't allow TV or anything in my room unless I'm sick, just because I don't want it to get that way. So now I've trained myself just like you would train a dog to go potty. Like if you go outside and you're like, go potty, go potty. So your room, you're going to train yourself that when you're in your room, you're going to bed. And it's dark and it's quiet and it's a good, safe place where you can sleep well and sleep soundly. And the first time when I first started to just try doing this, and I just decided to do it, I just made this stuff up myself, guys. This isn't something I was taught. I just did it. I said, however long this takes me, if I'm up 3 hours, I'm up 3 hours, but I'm going to train myself to go to sleep. And so what I would just do is I knew because of like yoga and stuff, I'm like, I'm just going to breathe in, breathe out. And that's what I would just focus on. And anytime any thought or anything would go to my head, I'm like, nope. And if I was really struggling with something, I'd get up, I'd write it down, and I always train myself, whatever is written on that page, it stays in that page. It's written down, so I don't need to leave it in here. And so I just take those emotions, takes everything, and that's out. It can worry about it tomorrow. And I definitely had thoughts coming into my brain in every direction. Like, nope, 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 go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. And then once I got good at it, within 7 minutes of usually laying in bed, whatever time that was, I could just shut down. It was way easier. Now, sometimes with pain or certain things, yeah, sometimes that wasn't going to happen. But for the most part, I was sleeping, or if I got out of sync with that, schedule change or whatever, getting sick, then I'd have to retrain my brain and my body a little bit, and I'd struggle with it. But then I'd have no trouble in going to sleep. Then you don't really stress as much. And then when you're not stressing, you have more time, you have more energy, you want to eat healthier, you want to do more healthier things for you, and then you want to keep those cycles. So if you do good things kind of come in. Same thing as bad things, then bad things kind of come to overwhelm us. And that's how we get into bad habits and all this stuff. So this is very basic, broad stuff. I might have to do some very specific ones where I'll lead you through like a 10-minute meditation, like very specifically. If you guys want, let me know if you kind of figure this out. But just start working with it. Just let it see what comes. See what comes to your brain. And what happened when I started doing this is it really showed me what was bugging me in my life, what I need to get rid of, anxiety and worries that I couldn't do anything about. And I learned to get rid of those and focusing on the good things in my life, that I left that for the end. I usually think about the bad things, then I think about the good things, and I think about all the things I was really grateful for. Wow, I have an awesome family. Wow, it's great that I have a really nice bed to sleep in at night. And I didn't just make stuff up. I would search until I found that one good thing. And sometimes, guys, sometimes it's hard and you hate about everything. And I'm like, I'm just glad I drank a glass of water. I mean, whatever, sometimes you're really rooting for some straws that you're like, I'm glad that I'm like, well, no, I'm not even glad I'm alive today. I'm glad that this day is over. That's what I'm glad about. But whatever you can honestly be glad about that day, you need to focus on that. And really other people. Think about the people in your life who really make the difference. Like, I am so lucky that I have a really good friend at work. I am so happy that, I love my husband extremely. I am so happy that I got to have 3 kids. I am so happy that I got to have these things, or, we get focused, or things like you can't have, or kids, and you just start thinking on those things too much instead of saying, okay, well, that sucks, but here's what I can do, and here's what I can get out of my life. And it starts to give you new direction, and things naturally just start getting better. And then it becomes a new type of addiction. You get excited and happy about life, and you feel in control of your emotions and your thoughts and your actions. And it really clears things up in your brain of how to do stuff, as well as really learning to shut off bad stuff in your life. I really had to get good about not letting that control my life, because they were going to happen anyways. Life's going to happen to you anyways. So, do you want to spend your time being angry and miserable and being mad at people? Or would you rather, even if it is fake, get rid of it so that you can focus and have a really good life and have a lot of fun and enjoy your life? I think that's ultimately what most of us want. So, if you can train yourself to do that, life is going to be so much better for you. So, I hope this helps you guys. And then stay tuned for 3.